Hey everyone, it's Ryan here with my Premier League review for game weeks 26 and 27. Like the last one I did was the beginning of March, and it's now 2 weeks later. Because essentially, sort of the same with the fixtures, there was sort of like one day between them, so I thought I'd let them play for a while. I think the next match is on Friday. Friday, so there's a few days, so I thought I'd do it now. We're going to start with the 2nd of March. Doing very well so far. So the first match we have is Man City 4, Wolves 1. Another dominant display by Man City. I believe they were on like 28 games unbeaten at that point. Another win for Man City, put them further up the table. Crystal Palace and Man U drew 0-0. Nothing too interesting in that. Sheffield United 1, Aston Villa 0. Sheffield United managed to win, which was something. Burnley 1, Leicester 1. Iheanacho scored. Vidra scored within 4 minutes. I think that week it was very, especially for a lot of the games, was literally people just scoring immediately. Chelsea 1, Liverpool 0, so Liverpool have lost 6 in a row at this point. I believe they went down to 7th after that. Everton 1, West Brom 0. There's a theme going on with these. Richarlison scores for West Brom. Fulham 0, Spurs 1. It was an own goal from a Fulham player. Fulham were attacking quite a bit but couldn't get a goal past Lloris. Brighton 1, Leicester 2. Leicester trying to keep on to second place. Iheanacho and Amati scored for Leicester. It was very last minute as well. Brighton did go ahead in 10 minutes with Lallana. Aston Villa 0, Wolves 0. Another clean sheet for Martinez, which is really good. I feel like Martinez, for me, sort of with Dean Henderson last season, is pretty much a sort of underrated / underappreciated goalkeeper of the season. I know Edison's currently leading in clean sheets, but I think Martinez has 14 for now, which is very impressive considering he wasn't even getting in the Arsenal squad, and the only reason he got in last season was because Leno had an injury. But he's definitely proved that he's been worth the money for them. Sheffield United 0, Southampton 2. Sheffield United going back to losing ways, and Southampton finally getting a win. So some momentum for them. Burnley 1, Arsenal 1. You had Aubameyang score within 6 minutes, then Chris would get an equaliser for them. So it's a good point for Burnley because Burnley and Brighton Burnley, Brighton, Newcastle, West Brom and Fulham realistically are the ones that are worrying about relegation. Sheffield United, it's long gone, essentially. They're definitely going down. So every point for them matters. Spurs 4, Crystal Palace 1. Gareth Bale and Harry Kane both getting 2 goals, doing very well that game. Kane got 2 assists as well. So anyone that had him in the fantasy team, you got quite a lot of points out of him. Man City 0, Manchester United 2. Manchester United ending Man City's undefeated streak or even winning streak, I think, in the Premier League as well. To get a good 2 points for them to get them closer to second. I believe that put them second. Them and Leicester are sort of jostling over second place at the moment. The last one was 5 in a row for Liverpool losing, because this is where the big shocker comes in. Liverpool 0, Fulham 1. This basically came down to Salah not being aware that one of the Fulham players, Lamina, just snuck up behind him after them trying to clear the ball away. He takes the ball off Salah, kicks it immediately, gets it in. Like I said, that was literally 6 losses in a row for Liverpool, which definitely doesn't look good for them. There was a debate a while back about if Liverpool were in a way, worst champions in terms of defending it the following season. Leicester comes close, but again, with Leicester, they've not got that team that won the league. It isn't the same type of team as Liverpool's one, who, the season before that had literally lost by 2 points. They got 99 points the winning season. They've got Salah, Mane, Van Dijk, Robertson, Trent Alexander-Arnold. You had Alisson in goal. And all this stuff. Like it's still the same team. Like I know Van Dijk's out injured, and like defensively they've had issues, but they had chances to fix that, and they didn't. Alisson's been on like a really bad run lately. Um, Salah, Mane not scoring. For me, like I wouldn't say Firmino not scoring is a bad thing because that's pretty much been the same for 2 seasons now. It's just he's scored like 3 or 4 times a season, I believe. I'm sure he scored more, but like considering he's meant to be the central striker, he's not getting much goals. If you know what I mean. Like it's Salah and Mane that are getting the majority of the goals for them. Firmino gets the odd one every now and then. But yeah, like I said, it was another loss for Liverpool, which obviously it's not good for them. West Brom 0, Newcastle 0. Again, with them being in the relegation battle, either team would have preferred to win West Brom a bit more than Newcastle, but Newcastle are starting to drop down a bit again, and like if the form they're on keeps going, then they may be back in the Championship again. I believe it was 4 or 5 years ago when they went down. So yeah, they could go back down there. West Ham 2, Leeds 0. I believe this put them temporarily. I believe this put West Ham up to 4th place. Like the thing I'm liking about this season, West Ham, considering how the start of the season was for them, with like people striking against the owners and thinking the team's going to go down, to now be literally within Champions League contention, it's quite something. I feel like David Moyes doesn't get the appreciation he does at West Ham. Like he did really well when he was the Everton manager. When he was put in charge of United, he was put in a very difficult position considering the team he was left with. And obviously following Sir Alex Ferguson, it's that's a lot of pressure on a manager, and I feel like Moyes probably does better with a smaller team. And like I said, like Lingard has been a good loan signing for West Ham. He's scored here again. Craig Dawson scored for them as well. Chelsea 2, Everton 0. First Godfrey own goal, and then Jorginho scores a penalty. Chelsea also pushing for the Champions League. I think Everton might be able to settle for Europa League, but obviously they would want to try and get higher. They were doing very well this season. They have their moments every now and then. Man City 5, Southampton 2. De Bruyne, Mara scoring 2 goals. Gundogan getting a goal. Ward-Prowse scoring a penalty. Che Adams getting a goal as well. Like 7 goals in that game. It's actually quite fun. Like most of these games, it's just 1 or 2 goals, and then you got the occasional one where there's a bit more. But yeah, like I said, a lot of goals that one. Newcastle 1, Aston Villa 1 was almost 1-0 to Aston Villa, but Newcastle managed to get a goal in pretty much the last minute. So it's a good point for them. Aston Villa would have preferred the win and the clean sheet. But yeah, that's normally the fun things about football. Fulham 0, Man City 3. John Stones, Jesus and Aguero all scoring. Aguero got a penalty. It's nice to see him playing football again. I'm not sure if he's had like substitute appearances earlier this season, but it's nice to see him back on the pitch. Next match, Everton 1, Burnley 2. A huge win for Burnley. So Chris Wood and Dwight McNeil scored very early. Calvert-Lewin managed to get 1 back, but they just could not get the second goal back for a draw. So like I said, it's very good for Burnley. It gets them a bit further away from the relegation zone. Crystal Palace 1, West Brom 0. Milivojevic scores a penalty. Not looking good for West Brom, because obviously they're 18th, I believe, at the moment. So they're in the last relegation spot. The big talking point about the Crystal Palace match as well was Wilfred Zaha not taking the knee for the Black Lives Matter movement. I'm not one of those people to be like, get all angry about it, whatever. I know there's some people that are getting annoyed about the whole knee thing, and it's sort of like maybe that's because you're part of the problem. I get that it's meant to be like symbolism for it's one of those things where it's like I could get in a debate for ages for it, but essentially it's like I could say one statement and people will like argue against me for it, but like my thing is like I don't get the idea of racism. Like we're all the same species. It shouldn't matter what colour or religion, like what race, religion, what our beliefs are, stuff like that. Like obviously some beliefs are questionable. Like essentially pro-racism and like all that's like I don't get how us as a species can be so divided when you know, not like obviously our DNA is the same, but like I said, with the same species. But yeah, like I get what Wilfred like. I would say I'm not against Wilfred Zaha standing up for it. That wasn't a pun intended for him standing up. Like, because he said in an interview, it's like doing the knee has just become a regular occurrence where people are just accepting it now. Like, no actions actually being taken towards racism. Like, for me, if anything, and it's really annoying to say, ever since the whole knee thing, there have now been more like racist moments, especially within football, obviously like other sports as well. Like either that or it's just because the media are actually picking up on it more. But it's literally, I feel like it's doubled in incidents, like that have occurred since the whole Black Lives Matter thing. But I feel like that could just be more people are now more aware of it, which is why it's being pointed out. But I can respect what Zaha's coming from, where it's like the knee's not doing anything. Like if they want to do something, then actually do something rather than saying, "Oh, we're going to do this gesture," like type thing. Like I get that, where, a gesture's nice and all, but a gesture is not sorting having a solution to the problem. It's like, I'm just trying to think now. Well, I can't really think of any comparison that's like as bad, but like that like pretty much the knee itself is sort of like an example. Like I'm fine with it being like a message, but you need something a bit more of a message. Like I think there's a thing a while back where they had like, oh, if like I think like maybe football clubs are going to be like, oh, if we've seen anyone being racist, they're having a lifetime ban from the stadium. Obviously, when fans can come back in, but then they want. Like I think at one point FA literally went to Twitter. It's like if you you need to clamp down on profiles that are being racist to people. Like essentially they need to get like social media platforms and like police and stuff like that to essentially clamp down on the problem rather than just being aware of it and not doing anything. So I think like that's a step forward, and that's what Zaha's really trying to encourage. So fair play to him for that. But yeah, anyway, like I said, it was a 1-0 Milivojevic penalty. Leeds 0, Chelsea 0. Tuchel still undefeated for Chelsea. It's a good draw for Leeds, I believe. I think they're in the middle of the table. Kind of not like dampens Chelsea's chances of Champions League football because obviously they're like 5th, I believe, maybe 4th. Yeah, obviously they would prefer the win. Man U 1, West Ham 0. It was just a Craig Dawson own goal. So, yeah, obviously Jesse Lingard can play because he's on loan, so you're not allowed to play against a club that you're currently contracted to. Arsenal 2, Tottenham 1 in the London derby. So, I think essentially I'm reading these matches backwards because that's just how they've done them on here. Like I watched the Leicester Sheffield United game first and then the Arsenal Spurs match. Lamella with potentially goal of the season. He did a Rabona from about 10 yards out, I'd say, sort of like on the inner ridge of the goalkeeper's box, like where they can take the goal kick from, through Partey's legs into the corner. There was a nice curve on it as well. He only came on because Son went off with an injury after like 15 minutes. Odegaard then manages to equalise for Arsenal before half time, and then later on Arsenal managed to get a penalty. Lacazette scuffs a shot like a volley, but at the same time Sanchez is coming in with a tackle and basically clips Lacazette's foot, so they get a penalty which he then scores. I feel like if anything Lacazette was lucky to score that goal because he was having a terrible game, to be honest. I feel like... and also a big talking point was they said this during the Leicester game that Aubameyang was dropped to the bench for disciplinary reasons and they wouldn't go into details as to what it is. I think they then found out later it was because he was 45 minutes late to training, or like for... Well, I wouldn't say for leaving for the match day because obviously they're in the same place, but I think he's 45 minutes late to training, so Arteta wasn't having any of it, so dropped him. But yeah, it's it's a weird thing. Like Aubameyang's season has been so on and off, and I feel like this has maybe been the bit where it's like he's got his contract, he's got his big money, and I think some places feel like Arsenal can just be that bit where they just sit back and do nothing, like just get paid a lot to be average. Um, but like we'll see if what happens with the next fixture. I think there's a bit of an international break or something, or just only limited games because like half the teams aren't playing. Yeah, so Arsenal managed to get 2-1. Then Lamella manages to get himself sent off by slapping Tierney in the face. Who Tierney, the whole game was really good. Managed to get the assist for Odegaard, but him running down the left wing, especially in the first half, he was doing very well. Smith Rowe did really well for Arsenal as well. But yeah, Lamella, essentially the talking point for two reasons. One, for an amazing goal, and then two, for his stupidity for... Like, he had the ball as well, and like for no reason whatsoever, Tierney's coming to close on him, and he just slaps him in the face like that. And like he'll put it down to, oh, I was trying to guard him, but like he's approaching him, he's not near him. And yeah, it was just like uncalled for essentially, and yeah, Lamella got himself sent off for it. But yeah, Arsenal get the win over Tottenham. I believe puts them to 9th. I'll go over the table at the end. But before that, it was Leicester versus Sheffield United. Before this as well, Chris Wilder decided to resign as Sheffield United manager, obviously because they were bottom of the table. And I believe he left the day before. And Leicester responded by beating them 5-0. Yeah, it was pretty much all Leicester for this one. I think Sheffield United didn't get a shot till like the 70th minute. They had essentially one shot, none on target. Like that's literally just how bad they were doing. And I saw a fact where it was in Chris Wilder's entire time of him being there, Sheffield United had never conceded 5 goals, or like had never lost by 5 goals or more. First game he's gone, they lose 5-0. Like this whole the whole team was just not there for this match. Another good talking point was Iheanacho got his first hat trick in like in the Premier League, probably in football in general. He's been on quite a roll lately, and obviously Vardy's getting a bit older and getting more injury prone. Like he has light injuries normally after every game. Like Vardy managed to get 2 assists in this, and Ndidi and Albrighton got 1. Perez also scored a goal. Vardy saw a shot across goal, and then Ampadu for Sheffield United accidentally knocked into the goal, so that was how it was 5-0. But yeah, Leicester were pretty much just on a tear at this point, like especially in the second half. And you know, credit to Iheanacho for getting a hat trick. Sorry, he's very emotional about it because obviously he'd never scored a hat trick before. Like he scored a brace before, like for Man City. But yeah, like just the form he's on, like he could, like I think this formation works for Leicester where they have 2 up front, 2 on the wing. Like it was weird because they didn't have Barnes. Like I know Madison's out injured, but Barnes was available, but they didn't play him. But yeah, they did really well. Leicester did, and it definitely boosts their goal difference as well to try and catch up with Man U. Southampton 1, Brighton 2. A big win for Brighton because, like I said earlier, they're in the relegation zone, so they sort of needed the points. Again, it's another loss for Southampton though. I think they're like 14th now, considering what 3 months ago they were top 4. It's just sad to see how far down they're dropping now. And then the final match, which took place yesterday, Wolves 0, Liverpool 1. Liverpool finally winning a game. Jota of all people scoring the goal, considering he used to play for Wolves. But yeah, like I said, it's a win for Liverpool, and maybe it's momentum for them to get back on track. We'll see. Alisson did have a sloppy moment, and also a big talking moment. I'm glad to hear that he's all right. Apparently, at one point, Rui Patricio got a running knee straight into the head. Probably had to be subbed off, but yeah, it was just I don't know who did it. Like I didn't watch the match, and it wasn't on the highlights. But I remember someone in the group chat literally saying that like they just took a knee straight to the head. I don't know if it was his own player. But yeah. But yeah, like I said, I'm glad to hear that Patricio's alright. So, now that we're all caught up, I'm going to go over the table with you and the points. So, Man City currently play 30, so they played 1 more than everyone else, which is odd considering they were like 2 or 3 games behind for a majority of the season. They're in first with 71 points. And then in second with 57 points is United. Leicester are third with 56. Chelsea are fourth with 51. West Ham are fifth with 48, but they do have a game in hand. If they win, they go level with Chelsea, but Chelsea be ahead in goal difference. Liverpool are now sixth with 46. Everton are seventh with 46, but they have a game in hand. Tottenham are eighth with 45, but also have a game in hand. Tottenham are ninth with 41 with 2 games in hand. Arsenal are 10th with 41, but with a game in hand. Crystal Palace are 11th with 37. Leeds are 12th with a game in hand with 36. Wolves are 13th with 35. Southampton are 14th with 33. Burnley are 15th with 33. Brighton are 16th with 29. Newcastle are 17th with 28. Fulham are 18th with 26. West Brom and Sheffield United, everything I said about points doesn't really matter too much. They're 19th with 18 points. So they're 8 behind Fulham and they're 10 points out of the relegation zone, like off the relegation zone. So I feel like West Brom are probably going down. And then Sheffield United are last with 14. At least it's not 2. At least it's not 10. Like, they could take themselves off the bottom of the table, but I don't see them escaping anytime soon. Plus as well, Newcastle and Brighton have a game in hand, so they could potentially see themselves get a bit further away from the relegation zone. Yeah, looks like West Brom and Fulham going down. Leeds have done good to essentially stay up. But yeah, like I said, at the moment it just looks like Brighton and Newcastle could be the only ones to worry. But if they win both their matches, then maybe they'll be alright. So yeah, the fixtures coming up. So like I think only like half the teams are playing. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Yeah, so these are the only games that are going on. Saturday, Brighton versus Newcastle. So a win for either team would be good, a loss would be really bad because they're the 2 teams nearer to the bottom. Friday as well is Fulham and Leeds. So if Fulham win, then that could definitely help them. Saturday, Brighton, Newcastle. Sunday, West Ham versus Arsenal. And Aston Villa versus Spurs, and that's literally the fixtures for next weekend, and then the next aren't for another 2 weeks, because I believe it's an international break then. Yes, so that's been my review for match weeks 26 and 27. It might have been 28 as well, so because apparently these are match week 29, so I'm going to say it's 26, 27, 28. I'm really hoping, like, because I've basically gone off my last one, which was from the 2nd of March, which was Gameweek 25. There may be one for 26, so I may have accidentally just done Gameweek 26 again. Just give me 1 second. I'm literally having to browse over my own channel just to make sure, because I feel like I may have just overdone this. No, my last one was 25. So, okay. So 26, 27, 28. That's what I'm calling this one. But thank you very much for watching this video. Bit longer than I thought it would have been. But again, it's essentially 3 weeks of football to do. And I shall hopefully see you in the next one.